Hello, welcome to my review of the Motogadget M-lock keyless ignition system. Now this is the kit, this is what you get. Now basically this is a system which enables you to remove your normal ignition from your motorcycle and just rely on a transponder to turn the bike on and off. It uses radio frequency technology with a programmable key from the module. The actual keys themselves are tiny, well I'll show you one in a minute. Basically you just run them over the sensor and it turns your bike on, run them over the sensor again and it will turn your bike off. Now, beauty of these is you don't need batteries in these keys. No batteries required. They're a completely unique signature, so only your paired key will turn on your bike. This is basically what you get with the kit. Now, this kit it's a little bit disappointing. It's meant more for the experienced installation technician. I wouldn't recommend you attempt to do this yourself unless you're very familiar with your bike's electrics and also familiar with the electrical systems, because you basically get the bare bones with this. It's obviously made as a universal kit suitable for any motorcycle, so you know the actual stuff you get to fit the kit is very generic and it's actually missing some parts which I would say really it should have been included with. You get some instructions which are fortunately actually in German, because it's a German product, so you have to download and print the English instructions, which is what these are. It comes with a relay which you need to include, and because it's made for any bike, you need to really decide how you're going to install it and what is necessary. This is why I say you need to have a little bit of experience with bike electrics. But that's the basic wiring diagram of how you connect it. We'll run through exactly how it's connected. So this is basically what you get with the kit. You get the actual module itself, which is you can mount on the motorcycle. It can work. It doesn't have to be on display. It can work through plastic, so you can have it under a panel, and then you just run your transponder key. You get two keys, a master key. That's the key to program additional keys, and you get your normal fob, which will be the one which you obviously unlock. Swipe across to unlock it. This can go under any non-conductive material. So it can go under carbon fibre, go under a plastic panel, go behind a fairing. It can't go behind metal though, because it will block the signal. When you come to unlock and turn your bike on and off, you would obviously take your transponder and you have to run it within 30 or 40 millimeters of the module. So it doesn't work when you're in close proximity to the bike. You actually have to run that over the module to turn it on and run it over again to turn it off. Now in some ways that's good, because when you're sat on your bike or standing near your bike, it's not going to obviously leave it turned on all the time, which is a good thing. Obviously some people would say, well, what's the point of having, you might as well just use a key if you're just going to use this module. But you know, it's a nice feature to have no ignition, a very clean look on your bike if you've got a Street Fighter or a Special, no ignition lock on it. Obviously anyone wants to hotwire your bike and steal it, it creates all sorts of problems. They haven't got a clue how to actually do that. So you can hide this away. Obviously it's a bit trick as well, just walking over and turning your bike on. You don't have to work, because I'm always losing my keys. I'm thinking, where's my keys? In my pocket? Is it there or whatever? So what I did as an optional extra with this kit, for an extra £25, you can have this tiny little transponder, which is like a little, well, it's like a little glass tube with the transponder in it, and you can actually sew that inside of your gloves. So to turn the bike on, you just have to hold your glove over the panel where that's hidden underneath, and the bike will switch on, which is nice because you haven't got to worry about any keys or having anything to lose then. So I think that's really a must as part of this kit, because if you're just using that, when you may as well really have your key, because you're going to have to get it in and out of your pocket to start the bike anyway. So keep that in your pocket in case you lose this, but keep that in your pocket as a backup. And I'm going to use this little vial sewn inside my glove to actually activate the bike, so I can just put my hand down over it and it will turn on. That's the plan. We'll see how that's going to work in practice in a minute. So what do you get with the kit? You get the module itself, which you have to wire in. You get the master key, which you could program other keys with, and you get a user key, a user fob, and there's an optional extra, if it's £25, you can have one of these small vial. Is it vial or vial? It's not vial, but it's a little glass tube to activate it. Also, you get a relay, a 40-amp relay to connect into your ignition circuit, which will go through some spade connectors, a tiny fuse which has to be assembled, and some more of them joining plugs. Now the reason I say I'm a little bit disappointed, because you get no wire to run it, because this needs a live feed running to it, so you don't get a wire to do that. You don't get any sort of battery terminal, so you're left, you need some additional kit to buy as part of this. And I think it's really targeted at the experienced motorcycle electrician or someone with good knowledge of electronics. I mean, you could take it to a garage and get it fitted, or if you have a reasonable understanding of bike electronics, you can do this. You will need some soldering skills and to look at your bike and identify where you can put this. One thing you can't run this on is you can't put it on a bike with an immobiliser, because it obviously won't turn off your immobiliser. So a bike with a built-in immobiliser, you may not be able to use this. There may be ways around it, but as a general rule, you cannot use it. So yeah, wiring on this, what you have to connect, you get a constant live to this, so it's constantly on, so it can detect when the fob is in close proximity. So that needs a constant live from the battery. It only uses a tiny amount, it's something like 2 milliamps of consumption. If you don't turn your bike on within 48 hours, it goes into like a low consumption mode. So it only sort of checks for a fob in the half amount of time. I mean, it's so good. I mean, it will take 7 months to flatten your battery if you just leave your bike turned on sorry, not turned on, but leave this connected with your battery connected. It would take 7 months for your battery to go flat. So it really doesn't use much current. Now the bike we're going to be fitting the M-lock to is this one, which is a CBR 1000 engined bike. Now normally the CBR 1000 in the UK spec comes with an immobiliser, but this is used running the American spec ECU, so there's no immobiliser on this bike, so this is perfect. This is a perfect bike for this. What I've done so far is basically remove the headstock, remove the ignition barrel. I've broken down the loom and I found the 2 wires which basically turn on the ignition. Basically bridging these wires together will put the ignition on this bike. So one of these is a feed from the battery. One of these wires comes from the battery, the other wire goes into the main fuse box. So it's basically that wire that goes from the battery to the bike's fuse box is cut. So this is what we're connecting in, and this is what we have to connect into the relay that comes with the M-lock. Okay, so you're probably thinking, how do I wire this to my bike? Now you get an instruction wiring diagram with the bike. Now it shows the main elements on here. You have the M-lock, which is shown here. You have the fuse, which you need to mount, and you have the relay. You have your bike battery, a 40 amp main fuse, which would be the vehicle fuse, and the 12 volt electrical supply to your bike. It's imperative you have the wiring diagrams when doing this. So there's the relay. So what you basically have to do is connect a feed, but find from your ignition lock, find those 2 wires as I have. You can use a meter to work out which one is the one that's connected to your battery, which we'll do in a minute, and which one is the one which is going to your electrical system on your bike. So which one's live, basically. Once you have the live one, that connects to pin 87 on your relay, and pin 30 then feeds the other way to your electrical system. Now you get little spade connectors to actually make those connectors to crimp or to solder, with some insulators as well. From the actual M-lock you then have a constant live feed, which is the red one. You also then have an earth, which can either go to your battery or back to just an earth on the bike, and then you have the brown, which is the activation wire, which then goes on to plug 86 of the relay, and port 85 of the relay goes to ground. Okay, so there we are. M-lock is now installed. Can you spot it? Can you spot it? Here it is. I have even managed to find a little relay sleeving, like plastic sleeving, which I had left over from another project. So I've put some plastic sleeving around it. I've also used some of this F6 cable sleeving, which is this stuff, like a flexible, basically opens up, it's split down the middle, and you can open it and slide your cable inside and slide it around your cables. It's very good. It's a very neat job. Provides that bit of extra protection. So you don't want, obviously, if that fails or that cable gets worn through, you're not going to be able to start your bike and you're going to be potentially stranded and need recovery. So it's important that the wiring for the M-lock is as robust as possible. The actual module itself is here, running through from inside the frame down there, and it's here. And I'm going to stick that under the underside of the fairing panel. The M-lock is now fully installed on the bike. To program it, it's quite a simple process. You can program up to 3 keys for the bike. You've got a maximum of 3 different keys which you can program. So first of all, you take your master key, you run that over the sensor. That'll bring the bike on for 1 second, and then run your other keys over. And as they go over, it will flash and go off. Wait for the next one. Comes on and flashes. Do that for all of your keys. When you've programmed all your keys, put the master key back over one more time, and now it's now programmed. So if I want to start the bike, I would just take my key to over the sensor, and your bike is now on. It's as simple as that. It's an excellent unit. I'm really pleased with the way that works. What I'm going to do to my bike now is actually cut off the old ignition loop on the yokes which held the ignition lock on there. I'm going to cut that section off of the yokes to give a really clean, smooth install. But yeah, it's a great system. I'm really happy with this. If you want one of these, Biker Mart, there's a good deal on these. Simon at Biker Mart, get in touch with him. I'll flash up some contact details. I must thank him for providing me this unit. I'm impressed. I mean, it's a bit of work to fit it. You need to spend a bit of time investigating, your electrics and how you're going to mount it to your bike. But after seeing it in operation, it is really good. I'm impressed with it. So I can't wait to get out at the meets this year and get the tongues wagging with my wireless ignition. It's fantastic. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you want to check out some more of my how-to videos, then check back soon. And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.